Hello, Prim friends. So I am back at Seville Antiques, and this shop is located at 14 Milton Street in Seville, Ohio. It is over 5,000 square feet of the real deal, early primitive, early American antiques from top to bottom. And the fun thing about this shop is that this is about 30 different dealers. So where some of the other shops that we have shown are single dealer shops, which are phenomenal and wonderful also, one of the fun things about this one, having so many different dealers, is that each dealer kind of has their own special niche. I don't know how to describe it, of the things that they love, the things that they seek out, and the places that they go, and the things that they find. So each booth has quite a different vibe, even though ultimately all of these pieces will go within our primitive style homes. So I'm just going to go for a little walk here around a few of these shops. I do want to make sure that you're aware that coming up on February 18th and 19th, the shop is having a special sale to celebrate the Valentine time. So each of the dealers will have hearts that they can use in their shops, either on particular items, and I know there may be at least one that is using it in multiple places, but there will be many items that are marked at either a discounted price or maybe a percentage off. It depends on what the dealers want to do, how they want to handle that. But I can tell you there are going to be hearts all throughout the shop when you are here. So it's definitely worth a trip, specifically on those dates, that February 18th and February 19th. So if you haven't been to Seville yet, it is well worth the road trip. We do have customers that come actually from all over the country. I'm sure possibly at some point in time all over the world as well, but definitely all over the country. In fact, on one day we had people from both coasts, on both coasts of the United States. So that was really fun that it was well represented. I'm seeing this crock here, this Parkersburg, West Virginia crock. I'm seeing the price. It's phenomenal. So this is definitely a place to come and hunt and buy. The prices, there are things in all price points. We've got the brown transferware pieces. There's a slaw cutter. I'm seeing the hint of tiger maple behind that finish there, that early dry finish, but that looks to me like it could be tiger maple. So I'll give you a little hint of one of the things that I have used on rolling pins that I found. I may have to think about exactly what that is so that I don't tell you wrong, but people use, I think it's from the drugstore, I think it's a glycerin oil. I will make sure and put that in the video as well. It's a very inexpensive product that you can get at the drugstore in the pharmacy, area. And people use it on their cutting boards, butcher block counters. It kind of gives a smoothness if you want that finish, if you don't want that dry finish. But it's really nice if you have a piece that you want to accentuate that, you want to really accentuate that tiger maple look, if that's what the look that you're going for. If not, there are plenty of people that have these early prim pieces and they want the dry look. And that's okay too. It's all how we decide we want our look to be in our own homes. It's an expression of ourselves. We create kind of a work of art within our home with these pieces that we choose to decorate with. There's some hog scraper candlesticks there. There's a little apothecary glass jar with a tin lid. I'm coming around the corner here. I'm seeing a bunch of stone fruit that's catching my eye here before we go. There's several carriers here. So you can use that for silverware. That's the other thing about, when I use the antiques, I want to use them. I want them in my home so that they're placed or situated like they would have been used at that time. And that's, I feel like we're stewards of these pieces. We take care of them. We hold on to them. We hopefully don't refinish them when they have these nice, really early looks. But there's a foot warmer with the hearts punched into the design. Oh, how sweet is that one? Nice rye basket on the wall. Several measures there. Love that knob. It's beautiful butter paddle. Really nice. Actually, that is a fabulous price. Come around the corner here. Love that little countertop desk. That one has a drawer even. Really sweet. The other thing that's nice, and it's all about what you need in your home in a particular spot, but here's a little corner piece that is sitting on the ground, but it could just as easily be tucked in a corner, whether that's in your living room next to a couple of Windsor chairs and a table, or in a bathroom. I could see it displayed with, some baskets, your soaps. It's just, these pieces are just, in my opinion, usable everywhere. And I think, now certainly there are some pieces that are just so precious that they can't be used or that you wouldn't want to use. Hooked rugs, the early ones, they were all done on burlap, and I would be concerned about having that on a floor and being used. But the early hooked rugs, actually, the early wool hooked rugs, weren't even originally used as rugs. They were for on top of a bed. And my understanding of rug hooking, the early hooked rugs, is that it is the only true folk art that is an American folk art. The others originated in other places, were brought over, but rug hooking is, my understanding, the only true early American folk art. And what the reason that it started was because things were imported. Bags and bags of things were imported, whether that was sugars or grains or whatever these things were. And they were in burlap sacks as clothing was wearing out and couldn't be used, because certainly they would not have gone to the local mercantile and used brand new wool like we sometimes use today to make these incredible hooked rugs. They would have used old wool clothing, and red is often seen in the early hooked rugs, and it was the men's long underwear, literally, that would have worn out and then be cut into strips. When the rugs were done, they were placed on top of beds because they were so warm from the thickness of that loop of wool over and over and over in these rugs. They were actually used in as bed coverings. But unless you were in a location where you would have had this, great import of the sacks, these feed sacks, these burlap sacks, it just would not have originated there, because it wouldn't have come over on the ships prior to that. So, little tidbit there from a rug hooker that is truly one of, or I'm told it is the only true early American folk art craft. Everything else originated somewhere else. There is a pair of sugar nips. That is also a fabulous price. Love that lantern. And there's a tin for a rolling pin there. I love the little collection there of the crutches. I hope, if you haven't already, that you do like, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment. I do try to answer every single comment. Some of them have really touched my heart, and those I don't necessarily answer right immediately, because they took the time to write something really touching, and I want to respond appropriately. So if you have written that way and I haven't written right back, that's why. I do want to think a bit about how I'm answering. We have people that are watching from all over the world. I know we have a new viewer right now from England, so big shout out to you. I would love to see how you are decorating with those braided rugs and pieces that you are able to find. But keep looking, go to the flea markets. I think aren't they called boot sales? Are the flea markets in England? Look at the size of that bowl. That is just gorgeous. It does have an early repair because it was special. It meant something to someone and they wanted to hold on to it, which to me just adds so much to the charm. That could have been thrown away or ended up in a burn pile somewhere, but it wasn't. Maybe it was a wedding gift. Maybe it was passed down from somebody's grandmother. Wow, look at the size of that slaw cutter. My goodness, I wonder if that would have been perhaps from a restaurant, or maybe from a company that made yeah, it's getting late in the day. Sauerkraut. That's the word I was going for. There are several shops that are certainly within a driving distance, and I want to look online and see if I can figure out. From one end of our state to another, of the state of Ohio, if you decided to come from somewhere else and make Ohio your destination road trip for a shopping spree or for a vacation, and that was all part of it, to visit all of these shops, you could do all of these shops from one end of the state to the other in a long weekend. If you wanted to if you got here on a Thursday evening and went from one to another to another to another, you could definitely hit these individual shops that I have featured. Now, the huge malls, I have not shown that yet, but I will be. With those, you're going to do an awful lot of walking, but you're not going to find it to be primitive one after another, after another, after another. So all I can say at this point right now, I hope that you are liking, subscribing, and following along on our channel. Comment below. Take care, everybody. Keep watching. There are more primitive pieces that I intend to bring to you, more stories, and more views here around Seville Antiques, because, like I said, you could easily do several hours walking around this particular shop. All right, take care. See you in the next one.